What's up, y'all, man? I've said several videos. I've been doing a deep dive into just understanding money more and politics, a whole bunch of different things. But just focusing on money right now. I just thought about today. I just came. I don't know how I came across it, but investing in the stock market, right? When you invest in the stock market, you have to think of it like trying to have a baby with a. If I was a man trying to have a baby with a woman, and stick with me here. Stick with the analogy here, right? When you invest in the stock market, if your money disappears, it's just gone, right? That's how they pretend it is, right? It's just gone. You just lost money. So when you invest in a stock, you're investing in a company's potential, hoping that you're going to get some sort of return on investment. But there's no safety net. So if I was a man trying to have a baby with a woman, right, I would invest my seed. This woman would accept my seed, and she would take my investment and in turn try to incubate and grow a baby within her, and then several months later, 9 months later, we end up with a baby, right? In perfect scenario. Now, that's not how it works, right? It's a lot of different things that take place between me investing that seed and getting a baby back, and I run the potential of getting nothing back. A bunch of different things can happen. Sometimes women are infertile. Sometimes men are infertile, right? Their semen is not actually worth nothing. That's why it's not a perfect analogy, but the woman could get hurt. There's a whole host of different things that can happen. So when you invest your seed, you may get nothing back. You're hoping to produce a baby. You may end up with nothing. Now that doesn't matter too much to. I won't say it doesn't matter, but it's not a big issue for men for the most part, right? Because most of us produce a lot of semen for X number of years, right? So, it's not an issue that we lost, this semen, right? But in the case of your money, you'd be pretty upset. You invested in that business, baby, right? You invested in my company. We're gonna call it Company J, right? You put $2,000 in the Company J. It's October now. By mid-December, your $2,000 has turned into $1,000 because it turns out my Company J is tanking, or Company J is not as worth as much as it was originally evaluated at. And guess what? You just lost $1,000. Now you got an option of cashing out, taking your money back, minus the $1,000 that you already lost because my company's not worth nothing anymore, and or not worth what we thought it was worth, and just cut your losses and moving on, right? But what happens to your money, right? No one spent it, supposedly, right? Stocks, it's a very elaborate, I don't want to call it a scam, so I will call it a scheme. It's a very elaborate scheme. And when you really think about the stock market, this is what else I want you to consider now. There was, back in the industrial revolution age, right, when they first started pensions and retirement and stuff, we weren't investing in 401ks and stocks. People were, investing in the pension plans, which the companies would pay out. Now, most companies have switched over to 401k, and we'll invest, or we'll match your investment up to a certain percentage. Again, now seems pretty honest up front, right? But then you think about it on the back end. Every company, I won't say every because I haven't done that research. I would dare say 99 to 100% of the companies that support a 401k and match that 401k with you, right, also has a stock on the stock market. So it's like a self-sustaining system there. You're putting money into it, right? And then we're just matching what you put into it. But we got stocks in the stock exchange too. So, and most people don't even truthfully know what they're investing in with their 401k, right? And IRA is the same thing. You're just investing in the stock market. Somebody else just doing it for you with a portfolio. And by the way, right, most of these companies, that's what made Robinhood so different. And I'm not advocating for Robinhood, but because you could kind of skirt the middleman and not pay all of those type of transaction fees that you pay when you invest using some of the other larger exchanges. But I digress. I don't want to digress too far. So coming back, so you lose your money in the stock market, right? Your money just gone. It's nobody's fault. You just lost $1,000. Sorry. Now, $1,000 might not seem that bad, right? But imagine you were, imagine now I'm 65. I've been investing in the stock market, or I've been investing into my 401k for the last 15, 20 years, right? Putting, let's say, putting bi-weekly into that thing, $100, $200, right? For the last 15, 20 years. And I go look at my account, or something happened with the stock market, and I look at my account, and my 401k is only, I don't know, we would call it $5,000. 15 years at $100 bi-weekly, and all I got is $5,000. It's no one's fault. I'm not entitled to anything, and no one can tell you where the money actually is, right? It just disappeared into the ether. It's easy when you do it digitally. Now imagine you were actually invested into some company and you were going to physically hand over dollars. It hit a little different when you're physically handing over the dollars, right? It's easy to kind of pull the wool over people's eyes when they're investing online digitally, because you never actually exchange real money, so it almost feels like it's not actually there. Now, this is the other side of that. The government supports all this, right? And guess what? The government also doesn't protect you at all if you lose money in the stock market. But if you make some money in the stock market, if you happen to put your money in and make a little money off the stock market, off that gamble, guess what? We need our cut. Yeah, we don't actually protect you from losses, but if you get any gains in the stock market, we want our cut. We need that. So before you get any money back, and guess what? If we don't get our cut, we're going to hem you up for tax evasion, tax fraud, and not only go get our cut, we're going to charge you for not paying taxes on the money that we weren't going to protect for you in the first place. It's an elaborate scheme, I dare say scam, one of many. The entire system of money, the more research I do, is based on deficit, based on someone lacking somewhere. I ain't going to go too far into history, but long story short, Europeans tried to enslave Native Americans when they first arrived. Before they went in all the way over to Africa and start pulling over Africans, right? They tried to enslave Native Americans. They could not. Why? Because those people had existed in this land for hundreds of thousands of years before Europeans got here. They knew how to live off the land. There is nothing that your dollar or your gold or your silver does for me. I got it. We've been thriving here for hundreds of years before y'all got here. What I need with your silly piece of paper or your piece of metal? So they couldn't enslave them, and they knew the land and terrain, so that was part of it too. But I'm not gonna go too far into that. I'm gonna do a different video on that one day. But so they couldn't enslave them, so they instead had to turn to genocide. And then they went and got Africans at the time, they were just Africans. Brought them over here, separated us got us from different tribes, different segments, separated us from our family and everyone we know. Some of us had different dialects and different languages, because Africa is a continent with hundreds of countries in it. Most people don't really grasp that. Like, the United States of America is one country on the continent of North America. Africa is a continent with hundreds of countries. And subsequently, people have different languages in countries. The same way we got a different language than folks in Mexico. And folks in Mexico have a different language than, speak, I guess, different dialect technically. But anyways, Cuba, so on and so forth down in South America, right? I'm saying all this to say, I just really want people to really think about how elaborate a scam. The more research I do, it's kind of sad, because I don't even want to say sad, but it gets kind of depressing. The more I look into history and everything that we do, simple stuff like Columbus Day, for example, because most people don't know the history of Columbus Day. I think I'm gonna do a video on that too, because it ain't what we dumb it down to. Not saying I support it, but it's not what we dumb it down to. But the government is the biggest scam artist there is. The government is a word. It's nothing but a gang, y'all. The government is a gang. It reminds me of The Walking Dead. If anybody that ever watched The Walking Dead, Negan and his saviors, right? They establish power and authority over other people, basically by beating them into submission, right? And then after they beat them down bad enough, so they realize they ain't gonna fight back. They can't win. They're not gonna fight back no more. They were like, all right, we're gonna let y'all live, and then we're gonna come back every once in a while. We're gonna collect resources off of you. You're gonna give us all your resources, all your weapons, all this and that. And then we'll give you protection. Now, the main person you need protection from is me, and so I'm going to protect you from me and from other people as long as you adhere to our rules and give us all your resources. That's what the government is. And they've done an elaborate scheme on us, convincing us all this patriotic stuff. We go and fight in wars to go kill other poor people, and we don't know why. Right? They swear it out. We defending freedom and democracy, but just like no different than Muhammad Ali not wanting to go to Vietnam, which now to this day we like that was a terrible war. It was no point in being there. We were wrong, right? I've never been scared of anybody from Afghanistan. I've never been scared of anyone from North Korea, China. The only people I'm scared of are right here, right? So think about that next time y'all talk about we over there defending freedom and democracy. And the craziest part of I ain't gonna go too far into it, but we don't live in a democracy, y'all. A democracy means if side A votes six people in side A vote for yellow, and 8 people on side B vote for red, red wins every time because 8 is bigger than 6. That's democracy. We don't live in a democracy. The majority does not rule here because we got the electoral college, which is to simplify it as a way of protecting the people from themselves, right? We can't let the people actually pick their own candidates. So we're going to put the electoral college in place, and then those votes are actually the ones that pick who the presidential candidate is going to be. Man, we live in the most elaborate scam ever created, and people, I was halfway scared to put this up because people will like bend over backwards to defend this scam. But it is what. Take all the labels and everything back from it, right? Everything we label things, and just think about what you're doing and what you get back. What you put in and what you get back, and what guarantees there are. None. No guarantees. Your granny worked all her life. Your granny been working since she was 12, 13 years old. Been investing in someone's pension or 401k or something like that since she was probably we'll call it 30 because it started kind of later, right? And guess what? And bigger than the 401k, the government been taking taxes from granny for 50 years now, right? Granny never get to retire. Granny actually gets sick before she even get to retire and die. Where's our granny money at? It works exactly like the stock market. Oh, well, sorry you passed, granny, but thank you for probably the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we have. Meanwhile, granny died poor, broke in some destitute corner, and they got $100,000 worth of her money somewhere, y'all. This shit has been a scam. It's been a scam, and we got to get together, stop participating in this shit. Like, they need the money from us, and they need our participation. They need it. The people make up the military. The people make up the corporations. The people make up the government. The government is just a word. People, we all, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know how to put it out there to get people to actually grasp it and then like be as outraged and just like, listen, we need to do something as me, because just being mad ain't enough. We got to work on, so what are we going to do to change this whole thing? And just saying that's just how it is. Just because this is how it is, I'm going to take a line from the movie Australia, which was about the Aboriginals in, I think it's Canada or Australia, whichever one. It don't matter. Australia. I just said Australia. Just because something always is, don't mean that's how it should be. Women have always been second-class citizens of our country up until recently. That didn't mean it should be. We have been fighting in this country to undo and change the corrupt way that this company, it is a company, has been ran since its existence, right? And that fight continues to this day. Hold on. So, and I'm saying all that to say, y'all, we all see the scam. Most of us know it. Most of us see it. Like, this is the part for me that's really depressing. Most people actually feel like it's a scam. Like, your gut feeling tells you this shit ain't right, right? So why don't we actually commit to doing something about it? Why don't we commit to making a change? And that don't come with simply voting random politicians into office.